We all have a story to tell. A gem of wisdom, a little tale, or just something to make you laugh. Do you want to hear some? Then welcome to Anecdotes. Today on Anecdotes, we're at Birdie's in the Bywater talking to actress, writer, and producer Helen Krieger.
This is me. This is my dealer. This is my new editor. The only thing I had to do today was buy some pots for my cooking kitchen. This is my boyfriend, sort of. And who's this? They're lesbians. What would you do? Like watch from the shadows?
Yes.
Thanks for being with us on Anecdotes. I want to talk about your new web series, Least Favorite Love Songs. Can you tell us about that? You're in your second season for that, is that right?
Yeah, we're actually just started pre-production in the second season, so we're super excited about that. We had our first production meeting 2 days ago, and of course costs are way more than I thought they were going to be, but it's also going to look way better than I thought. So
cool.
This is going to be, I think, visually one of the most challenging and interesting things we've ever done.
Wow, and so the first season, how many episodes were in that?
4 episodes,
Okay.
and altogether they're like 30 minutes. So each episode is like 5 to 8 minutes, and I tried to end them all on a little bit of a cliffhanger so that you want to watch the next one.
Nice.
And it follows around kind of a stoned writer in New Orleans who has this terrible indie rocker boyfriend, and she's sort of trying to get past him and trying to make him love her, and he just doesn't.
Oh no. So tell me about least favorite love songs. Where does that come in? Like, where's the title come in?
Oh, he's in a band,
Ah.
and she wants to be in his band, and he will not let her.
Aw.
And so she sort of acts out in the second season.
Oh wow.
But yeah, and it's very much about like relationships nowadays, and all the different ways that there are to date and to be in a relationship or not be in a relationship or be in a sort of relationship. And it's also very much about being like, sort of young and confused and trying to figure out what you want to do.
And it's set in New Orleans?
Yeah, pretty much in the Bywater.
Nice.
But
And you were saying it's been accepted into a film festival, is that right?
yeah, we were in the LA Web Fest, which is the first time that they've ever had a web series from Louisiana accepted into their festival. And so I told him, when he told me that, I was like, well, it will not be the last, because there's a lot of really great episodes coming out of New Orleans. And so traditionally it had been web series were coming out of New York, LA, and Chicago, because that's where the big hubs are for writers, and in Chicago, a second city. But now in New Orleans, we have a really good comedy theater, the New Movement, and we have a lot of really great writers. And so people are just really starting to amp up their game and look at web series not as a little junky thing that they do, but scripted, polished, ready to go, entertaining stuff.
And web series in general have had this, I don't know, it's become a big thing for, a format for film. I mean, not film, but it's an alternative to other independent film styles.
Yeah, I mean, it started with Felicia Day and the Guild, but it's really taken a while to sort of snowball, and now I really believe that web series are like the new independent film. And I think it's a combination of a couple of things. One of them is that people like serialized content. Once you know you like something, you want to watch another thing like that, and you want to keep following these stories. And so when you put all the stories together, maybe they take a really long time, but you're just getting them in these bite-sized pieces, and you're sort of being kept along, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, because you're not going to a theater to watch them. You're watching them at home when you have time, when you want to. And so it's like, kind of the same way that TV episodes have gotten this second life now, where you want to follow characters through like a whole season and see what happens to them. And with something like Game of Thrones, how many hours of content is that?
Right.
Versus like the Hunger Games, which is 90 minutes. The Hunger Games, you leave and you're like, I don't really know these characters, I don't really know anything about them. But after Game of Thrones, like you find so much detail of every character, and you just keep wanting to dig in more and more. And I think it's just a push away from film and towards serialized content.
And I think people are spending more time with their computers too. So I think that's a good venue, because you have Netflix and Hulu and just all other types of things that you can watch on your computer. So this is just fitting right into that.
Right, and then ways that you can watch computerized stream content on your TV.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's starting to be less and less of a differentiation between them. And I think another reason too is because it's really hard to make money off of film right now. Like it's, you can make a film and win awards and all kinds of stuff and not, and have it show in some theaters and have it distributed and still not make any money.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So people are like, well, if I'm not going to make money anyways, I might as well just do something small and easy.
And it can be, it's broadcast to anyone. I mean, anyone who has access to the internet can see it.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting because I did a feature film before this, and with that feature film, it's got a distributor now and it's available, but it's available, on DVD. People can't go online and find it. We're going to get a digital download, a digital release sometime this summer. But in the meantime, people are like, okay, well, I've got to buy the DVD, or I've got to go find a screening, or I've got to. Whereas with the web content, it's like, hey, let me give you the link. There you go.
People hate New Orleans. We're the poor black canary in the American coal mine.
We let people drink in the street. We'll take any holiday that lasts an afternoon at most and turn it into 10 days of parties and parades.
How come you threw away your paintings?
Because I don't like them.
Well, then fix them. God, I'm so sick of this freaking half-assing attitude in this town.
All right, boys, get in line to pay my light bill.
Child, you wearing that wig hat.
I heard you're moving back, and I was wondering, do your parents still have insurance? Maybe I could send you information to give to your mom.
Yeah, so the feature film, that's kind of how I got into movies. And it's called Flood Streets. And it follows, we wrote it when we came back home after the storm. And we thought, I would just take notes when I got home. I was working as a real estate agent. And so I would see so many crazy things and hear so many crazy stories. And so I started taking notes on all of them, and I wrote the script. And so Flood Streets follows a group of creative malcontents as they struggle to find love, money, and marijuana in the surreal streets of post-Katrina New Orleans.
Wow.
So it's a post-Katrina story, but it's a narrative, and there's definitely a lot of gallows humor. It's not like a super somber. It's not, of course there's tragic moments, but there's also, I think in New Orleans, we got through it through laughter.
Yeah,
and through
you have to
humor.
laugh sometimes,
Yeah.
right.
Otherwise, you just have to close your eyes.
Right.
And that was the first time that I really got into script writing as opposed to fiction writing. And before that, I had been a journalist. And so I spent probably 2 years working on the script and getting a lot of feedback. And then I got involved with Michelle Benoit and Glenn Petrie, who are amazing filmmakers in New Orleans who have been, working in this area for as long as anyone has. And they gave me a lot of great feedback on the script, and they helped us get Harry Shearer involved.
Oh, nice.
And so she suggested that we do a staged reading for people. And so we asked Harry Shearer if he would do a part in the staged reading. And you have to know that he's I'm a huge fan of his. The Simpsons, this is Spinal
Mr.
Tap.
Burns,
All the Christopher Guest movies.
Yeah.
I'm just a huge fan of his. So to think that he would be saying my lines was so amazing. And so when we asked him, will you come do this staged reading? He was he just emailed back, what are the dates? And I told him the dates. And then he was like, yeah, I can be there. And that was it. And so then I was like, well, is he actually going to be here? I don't know. What's going to happen? So he was there. He was awesome. And then afterwards, he was like, I read the script. I really like all the changes you made from the last draft, and we should talk tomorrow. So I was like, okay, he read the first draft, and he read the second draft, and he liked the change. I was so excited. And it was 2 days before Mardi Gras, I think. And we met for lunch, and he was like, I want to be involved in your project some way. He's like, and I want to be involved. He's like, when I got involved in This is Spinal Tap, it was because it was a movie that finally got rock and roll right. He's like, I want to be involved in this because I think it's a film that finally gets New Orleans right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, I was like, that just made my Mardi Gras.
Yeah, wow.
And then the other really fun thing about having that staged reading was because he was in it, a whole bunch of people came. So there were 100 people at the staged reading, and we said it's totally free. But if you want to pay us, write down on a comment card, what you liked and didn't like about it, and give it to us. So the next day I had 75 comment cards.
Oh, wow.
And as a writer, you never get that. You never get that much feedback from people. You tell someone, you read my script, and 2 weeks later, oh, I didn't get to it, I'll read it tomorrow. And
So you had it
yeah,
right then.
So then the next day, and knowing that I was meeting with Harry Shearer, and then I had this stack that big of of all these comments, and I hadn't drank my coffee yet, and I looked at the first one, and it was really complimentary, and I was like, awesome. And I looked at the second one, and it was really awful, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get some coffee.
Put that in that pile for later, right?
Yeah, but that was amazing.
Here, put that down. I saw this on a Bruce Lee tape. Come over here like you're going to stab you in the chest.
Just like with my hand, or like. Ow, what? Jesus, Tim John, that hurt.
Now, I'm going to show you what to do if a cop ever tries to feel you up. So spread your legs out.
No, wait.
Spread your legs.
Seriously, Tim John, I don't think...
You don't think that shit happens all the time? There's a girl not 2 blocks from here.
What was that? What is that? I don't know, it must have been a cat or something. So listen, I'm sorry I called you so last minute, but I just have a lot of shit to get done today, so I'm glad you were home.
That's what I'm here for.
So in Least Favorite Love Songs, you're acting in it as well. You're the star of the web series as well as the writer. How is that to write for yourself? Is it easier or harder?
It's both. It's a combination. I think in general it's easier to write for someone once you know them. Mm-hmm. So like for the second season of Least Favorite Love Songs, I was able to write specific stuff for actors. So I guess I must have been writing specific stuff for myself that I knew. And whenever I write, I imagine it played a certain way. Mm-hmm. And it's always really interesting to then see how an actor takes it, because they almost always surprise me in a good way. But so with me, I don't have that surprise because I know how I'm, you know what I mean? I wrote it a certain way, I'm going to do it a certain way, I'm going to... so then I have to really work on having really great actors around me so that they can give me something I'm not expecting, so that I can then act in a way that I wasn't expecting, and still we can still surprise each other.
Yeah.
But I think I'm definitely surrounded by a lot of really talented people in this. On the acting side and on the production side, I've sort of really make myself look good by having like really talented people all over. And I also do most of the editing for it. So I will often be in the editing room and I'll be like, oh, why didn't the writer include this? And why did the stupid actress not do that? You know?
Oh, right, that's me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's me too.
Yep, But it's great because then I learn what should I have done. Yeah, exactly. Like next time with the writing, you really need to set up something like this and get a shot of it, or
Yeah.
But it's also good too because then I don't feel any bones about cutting stuff or changing the story. We usually shoot with 2 cameras, and we essentially rewrite huge portions in the editing room. Like if something doesn't work, or if we didn't get it the way we thought, or if something else is funnier, we just totally rewrite the story. And there's voiceover in it, so we can do that.
Oh, wow. Okay, because I was going to say, is that like through the editing, but it's actually through voiceover as well?
A combination. You can totally steal moments where instead of somebody saying a line, they just give you a blank look, and then you give them a blank look, and you stole those looks from before the camera, you thought it was rolling, you know? And then like you add those blank looks, and you can add some voiceover now, or,
So you were part of this from the writing to the acting to the editing to in every way.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
But I get and so it's interesting until you think, oh, this is mainly my voice, and it is definitely my voice, but it's my voice gilded and added to by so many people. And so on the writing side, my husband, who also acts in the series, helps me with the writing side tremendously. And then this season, I put together a little mini writer's room, because that's like a dream of mine, is to be a TV writer and be in a writer's room all day long. And so I put together this writing room of comedians, screenwriters, improvisers, actors, and they all punched everything up. Just totally took anything that was a little weird, they made it awesome, and anything that was awesome, they made it even better. And then, while we're shooting, the DP will come up with ideas of what if this guy is holding this, and what if she says something like that? And then when I edit, I bring a lot of those same people back to look at it. And a lot of the final editing decisions will be advice that other people have given me that
And that's probably, that's so great that you're open to other people's input, because sometimes not everybody is that way. And that's probably why it's so successful too, because, you're willing to take on other opinions and change it.
Yeah, and I never understand when people are really closed about it, because
some people are.
Yeah, definitely. And it can become too strange and something that you're just not seeing, and other people are seeing something else in it. I mean, I think you don't want to have, film by committee where everyone, you incorporate everything that everyone says. But if you have a really talented group of people and you have a very specific voice, and I've already written these things that have this super specific voice, they know what's going to fit and what's not going to fit. They're not going to give me suggestions that are totally out there. And if they do, then we just don't take them. But most of the time, like 99% of the time, they're really great. And so, we follow them, and then someone will credit me for it, and I'll be like, actually, I didn't write that. Our DP came up with that, or, our craft service came up with that. Anyone, like, everyone is really talented on the team. And I think that's one of the interesting things about film in New Orleans, is that there's so many talented people who are just willing to hang out with you and do projects with you.
And I really think the independent film community is growing here in New Orleans, like dramatically. Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many more people creating web series. There's so many more people getting involved with the 48-hour film festival. People moving in from other towns to try to work in the film industry here, and they're able to do their indie films while they have, work on studio films periodically. We just opened a couple of years ago a chapter of Women in Film and Television Louisiana.
Oh, nice.
So that's been bringing together professional crew, writers, actors, indie world, all of those things sort of together.
Well, where can we see Least Favorite Love Songs?
You can see it at leastfavoritelovesongs.com.
Okay.
And there's links to the whole first season up, as well as the Kickstarter video. And the Kickstarter video, whenever I tell people the plot to Least Favorite Love Songs, they always say, oh, so it's like HBO's Girls. And so the Kickstarter video addresses that head on.
It's not?
I'm not going to say it's totally not, because then I'll get reviews. Like, somebody just wrote a review that came out today, and it was like, if you like girls, you'll love this.
So you're like, well, it kind of is.
I'm not going to say it's not. And I really enjoy Girls. I haven't watched all the second season yet, but I watched the first season, and it's super smart, and it's, a perspective you don't always get, and I'm not gonna hate on it. I think it's good. So if people want to make that comparison, I'm totally down with that.
And the second season, when will that be coming out?
That is going to premiere in November. Okay. And I think it's going to premiere at, it's crazy that I'm even planning the premiere before we've shot the first piece of footage, but I think
you have confidence.
I tell you have to do this. You have to just like charge forward and be like, it will happen.
Right.
I think it's going to premiere at the Hell Yes Film Fest, which is a comedy film festival that's going to be happening in town in mid-November.
That's awesome. We're looking forward to watching that, and thanks so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much
for giving us your anecdotes.
Wonderful, thanks.